So welcome to Resto Designs, guys, and we're back. Hopefully you've checked out last week's video, which was my garage build. It kind of explains where I've been for the last 3 or 4 months, moving location, moving house, and building and moving into a new workshop. Now this workshop, not to be too cliche about it, it is my dream workshop or dream garage. And to have such a nice compact garage actually at the back of my house makes these videos a lot easier. It means I can spend a lot more time on the cars as well. And as you guys, if you haven't checked it out, you will check it out in a minute. The workshop is top drawer. Today's video back on Project Joker. This car's been hanging around like a bad smell, and as you can see in front of me here, got a brand new roof panel because the original roof panel was rusty. Also, you guys haven't seen the engine bay painted, so that's going to be a little reveal as well later on. The sunroof got painted in the colour at the same time. You can see it's kind of blue, it's dusty, but you'll get a better look at that in a minute. So first we're going to strip this down, replace the rusty panel, put the new one on, then we're going to tackle the dashboard and actually see how bad the wiring is behind this car, and if I need to go from C1 to the newer stuff, which is C2, because I don't have any spare looms for this. I do have loads of bits for C2 fuse box, and it would maybe make more sense to update it to the newer style fuse box. And also the dash is badly cracked, so we're going to replace it with a plastic one, because these MDF ones here in Portugal with this sun, they all crack. It can be repaired, and I think he's maybe going to trim the dash at a later stage, but that's up to him. What we're dealing with today is replacing it back with a plastic dash. That's if we can. Let's see how bad the wiring is, and also do the pedal box. We do loads of bits. Maybe not everything in today's video, but it's definitely an ongoing project, and we're back on the videos every Sunday. Alright guys, it's hot, it's bright, I can't even touch the car. Push this into the workshop, start with this sunroof. I think first things first, so much rubbish in the car. Just gonna remove all this stuff out of the way. What's that meant to be? So as you guys saw, I opened the roof slightly and then slid back that trim panel. Now it shows the inner workings of the roof, the sunroof. So what we're going to do is going to remove these there and there on both sides, and then what we can do now, actually see the spring. Be careful because this actually can break, and they break a lot on these, especially at this age. You just kind of pull it away. And do the same on the other side. Okay, so this was done. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I've also replaced the seal. Is it a fresh one? We've just put a better condition one on there because he's gonna have to remove this again anyway when he gets to paint the car, but that could be a bit of a distance. I think he's gonna drive it like this in a bit of a dog's mess in the bodywork, but he's gonna use it for a while. I think he just wants to kind of, his main goal at the moment is actually to get it mechanically sound, and that's where I am. We're going to do all the suspension, all the engine, all the gearbox bits. This is just a bit extra that he's asked me to do. All right guys, so let's get this on, and then we can start tackling that dashboard, and then we'll see how bad the wiring is under that dash. Okay, so that's a surprise as well as it's not a surprise. Yeah, look at that. It means it's all burnt out, hasn't it, at some point. The wiring on this. I think that's pretty much decided it for me. Take the last screw out of here, and then we can actually cut this off. I've also noticed that these are, this is the starter. Obviously the starter switch on the ignition doesn't work anymore. So from what I can see so far, I'm pretty much calling it a day with this loom. Yeah, I'm not going to persist with this. I've got a perfectly good C2 loom. I'll take the fuse box actually out of the Passat as well. We'll use that instead. And we'll gut this, so we'll just change the loom from front to back and all the stuff around here. But let me just carry on. Take the clocks out next. Whatever's happened wiring wise hasn't damaged the clocks. That's a good sign then. So what I'll do is I'll make a conversion loom for this, which will go from the 2 plugs to the single plug on the C2 fuse box. I did actually make a video on how to do that. All right, let me just check out the rat's nest. That's just terrible. I'm not touching that. It's a mess everywhere. I'm sure the rats are long gone. But still, it's not the one. All right, let me get this out of the way. Now, I mean, these MDF ones are actually far superior to the plastic ones, as in kind of sound deadening and just resonance and vibration and sound in the car. But the good thing about the plastic ones, they don't do this. Loads of silicone. I don't know what they've done with this heater box, but while it's off, I might as well remove this actually as well and actually replace the heater matrix in there. Yeah, I'm so happy that I'm not going to be going with this stuff. This is all going to get replaced with C2 stuff. Right, before I think I progress any further, I'm just going to get rid of the loom, get all the bits out, and give this a good vacuum, a good clean. It's just because there's dirt everywhere. So that looks a lot better. Vacuum clean a bit of TLC can do, so that's all tidy now. I've also cleaned off all the bits that were here from the rats and all dust and stuff that was behind the dash. So as always, guys, I'm going to show you step by step and explain to you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So the next thing we're going to do now is going to remove the fuse box holder, which you can see is actually loose, and we're going to remove the pedal box, and then I'll show you guys side by side what the Passat B3 one looks like compared to the standard Mark II Golf one. So I've removed the steering column. Now, sometimes if you're lucky, you would have already had these bolts replaced by somebody else. These hadn't. They're still the original snap-off bolts, security bolts. And I was able to get the first one off with a set of mole grips quite easily. The second one wasn't so happy. I had to get the grinder with the dash off. Obviously, it makes it a lot easier with the dash on. I don't know how you'd actually do it. Maybe chisel it off with a hammer. But I was able to cut it off, and then once I've kind of cut it in half, put the mole grips on, and it came off pretty easy. So now, with that like that, you're able to actually get the pedal box out nice and easy. So that wasn't too bad, taking the pedal box off. With the dash off, definitely makes life just that little bit easier. I mean, with the dash in, it could be definitely a lot harder to do. But anyway, here we go, side by side. As I've covered here on the channel before, it's basically, you know, proven and tested, or tested and proven way of doing things, really. This is a standard Mark II pedal box. This is the Passat B3, B4 pedal box. The advantages is the clutch pedal, as you can see, is slightly different to the standard Mark II one. Well, I say slightly, quite a lot different. The brake pedal and the accelerators are the same on these left-hand drive vehicles, but you've got the extra bit here and the shape to take the clutch master, as well as the brake booster or brake servo bracket that sits in the bulkhead, has the location where it's got an extra bolt hole that you have to drill 2 holes actually in the bulkhead, which is this main one and this little one for this M8. And on the other side, you've got 2 little M6s that actually hold the clutch master in place. And again, off the Passat is the brake servo, brake booster, depending where you are in the world. This is a 9-inch one, so it's bigger. I think the standard one's like 7 or 6. So yeah, definitely increases your brake pressure on the pedal that you can apply. And then also matched up with a 22mm master cylinder, brake master cylinder, compared to 18 or 19, I think it is the standard one, or 20. So yeah, again, a nice jump up from there. And like I've said, that's, you know, been proven and done loads of times on the channel. But we'll get back to putting bits on in this video basically is going to be removing more bits. So next on the hit list is going to be removing the heater box, and there's loads of silicone on here. So I'm just going to have to peel that off. I don't know why they've actually, looks like it's got wood wedged here and other stuff as well, but probably we're going to be removing this bottom half of the box anyway and not replacing that. I'm going to block that up really for the down heater, because this is where the ECU is going to go, and the main reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to be using a K data, which is basically a mega squirt, and even though it is in an original housing, ECU housing, it's actually got a hole, so it's not going to be waterproof or weatherproof to keep it down there in the rain scuttle. So I'm going to wire it up with the original ECU first in here, and then when he's ready to do the update, we'll go and actually mount it here, so it'll be all ready here. So I'm just probably going to have to modify this, and I can see, look, another little rat's nest in there. Oh, that's disgusting. So I've got the heater box out of the car, and I don't have a problem with spiders or creepy crawlies, but rats, oh, they really make my skin crawl. Look at all the droppings on that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna dismantle this and actually give it a good jet wash inside, because I'm sure you don't want to turn the heating on and smell rat pee. All dismantled and all cleaned, finally. Look at the difference in that from what it was. Also inside all the vents as well, I've given them all a clean and use some disinfectant as well. In here I have to be careful with the sponge, yeah, just did it with the cloth. And that's it. Now we can actually start putting stuff back together. So there you go. That looks so much better, almost looks new from what it was to what it is. So all these attention to detail, it's definitely worth it. It's a pleasure to actually put this back in the car into Project Joker. So it's all in, looking fresh and smelling fresh, that's for sure. Also I've added some little pads here so that it stops the vibration of these cables on there. So now that this is done, I'm going to show you guys the actual colour that the customer has chosen to paint this car in. You haven't seen the engine bay yet, and here you go guys, in this Porsche Midnight Blue. And he's actually welded in the strut brace. It isn't how I wanted to weld it in, and I'm going to be a bit worried how it's going to be with the inlet manifold and stuff, but it's an 8 valve, so hopefully it should be fine, even though it is a 2-litre block, tool block. We should hopefully have no issues. But yeah, it's looking good. So now that I've done the heater box, let's come over here. And this is what's next on the list. So as you guys can see, we're going to have to drill a hole here and one just there for the M8 to go through. So that's what we'll do. So there you have it guys. The brake booster's on with the holes already made for the clutch. And the pedal box is done as well. As you guys can see, it's all in, done, and also fresh, clean heater box with new heater matrix as well, all up in there and done. That bottom bit's not going to go on like I said, because the ECU is going to be sitting underneath there. Now guys, this is going to be it for today, but join me next week where I'll be doing the subframe. So we're going to be putting on a Mark III subframe, and also we're going to be putting on the Mark III Plus suspension, which is the 5100 wishbones, hubs, anti-roll bar, as well as going to be fitting on coilovers, front and rear, and potentially a back box and a few other little bits and pieces. He's also got some camber plates as well front here. So we're going to be kind of pushing on and get the suspension done. It's going to be running 288s as well. So that'll be all in next week's video, guys. So please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and be safe.